Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a sphincter, esophageal reality. Eat and swallow, feel your epiglottis and see. It's down the esophagus, moved by peristalsis. Cause it's easy contract, easy relax, a little mechanical digestion. Any way the food goes, it really, really matters to prevent strokes.
Alright.
Yeah. Were you guys able to get free dresses just for this?
Yes.
Do it again.
Alright, what is the esophagus? The esophagus is a tube composed of smooth muscle that connects from the pharynx to the stomach. The tube is generally 25 centimeters, about 10 inches long, and is also known as the gullet.
Alright, so on a warm, sunny day in the town of Digestio, child esophagus and father esophagus contemplate the importance of their being.
Father, I've always wondered who I was. Can you tell me?
Oh, yes. I've been hiding this from you for years because ones like us have been discriminated against in the world of Digestio. You are an
Attention, seventh grade
esophagus.
students. Last name starting H through L, G1 and G2. Seventh grade students. Last name starting H through L, please report to rooms G1 and G2.
I say again, you are an esophagus.
Oh, Father, how can this be? Is this why I'm 25 centimeters long and have 4 differing layers?
Yes, child, but we are just as important as the rest.
Mr. Smooth Muscle enters.
Tonight, we find our truth. We are esophageal fighters. We are the fighters in Digestio.
Thank you, Father and Mr. Smooth Muscle. I feel much more hope now.
Never ever forget about this.
Alright, so where is the esophagus? So where is the esophagus? Well, it lies along the medial plane, posterior to your thoracic cavity, and is inferior to your mouth, your salivary glands, and your pharynx, and is superior to your stomach, your small intestine, colon, and all that mumbo jumbo over there.
Hey, Mr. Smooth Muscle, want to sing another song with us?
Why, yes!
3, 2.
Mouth, pharynx, esophagus, 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 stomach, duodenum, esophagus, colon and anus, but we are back up top. Mouth, pharynx, esophagus, esophagus. That's me. Okay.
Ignore that. Anatomy of the esophagus. So the esophagus consists of a stratification of 4 layers, or what we commonly call tunics, and is continuous all the way through the alimentary canal with the stomach, duodenum, and colon. So from internal to superficial, we have the mucosa, which is this endothelial lining of the lumen, and it has like the lamina propria, which is the deep connective tissue, and smooth muscle, and simple columnar epithelium. And then you have the submucosa, which is more lateral, which is just basically connective tissue, and it provides a way for, the vascular roots such as the cardiovascular blood and the lymphatic vessels. And then you have the muscularis externa, which is the smooth muscle layer, which provides like the peristalsis during the contractions. And then there's the serosa, which is the serous fluid producing cells, so that the visceral and parietal peritoneum don't slide up against each other and do too much damage. Okay. Hey, Digestio.
Hey, Smooth.
Want to have a lesson?
Sure, Smooth. There is mucosa, then submucosa, muscularis externa, and then serosa. Now I've got it all, so I can eat this pear. Imagination, school is my creation.
That one was good.
Alright, so pretty much the esophagus directs food from the mouth all the way to the stomach, And remember the epiglottis we learned last chapter? It regulates the passage of food from the mouth to the esophagus. And the esophagus is the first part of the alimentary canal that has a compilation of endothelium and smooth muscle within it, and it is continuous with inferior organs. And it only uses mechanical digestion. There's no chemical digestion.
So this is next slide. So, Zach.
Okay. So sphincters. What are sphincters? Sphincters are rings of muscle that open and close to guard an opening to a tube or the exterior. And sphincters are found at the base of the esophagus, stomach, and anus. And the cardioesophageal sphincter lies at the base of the esophagus, and it functions in regulating food entry from the esophagus into the stomach and preventing acid reflux from stomach into the esophagus.
Let's all have a party!
Oh God.
So let's go honor our esophageal sphincters. I flap up,
Oh my
Flap down. I open up.
and push right back up. Oh, let's on. Oh, let's on. Oh, let's on. Oh. I flap up, and I flap back down. And I flap up, and I close right back up. So, peristalsis in the esophagus. This is really important. It provides the ways for mechanically digesting food. So, smooth muscle in the third lateral layer of the muscularis external is going to provide these powerful contractions necessary for digestion. And the cardioesophageal sphincter is also going to have peristaltic activity to propel food into the stomach. And this is regulated by an endocrine pathway. So essentially the hormone motilin is going to regulate the contraction of the smooth muscle in the esophageal wall, and for that matter, throughout the rest of the alimentary canal. And autonomic nerve fibers, which are the ones that are non-voluntary, are going to help initiate motilin release, and these are called the submucosal nerve plexus and the myenteric nerve plexus.
All right, guys, I've enjoyed time with you, but I need to tell you an ancestral truth about my kind.
What's that?
There ain't no rest for the muscle with mechanical activity. I've got food to break, I've got stomachs to feed, and ain't nothing in digestio easy. You know it happens to be true. I house the inside of you, so we all should be glad. You know there ain't no rest for the muscle until it stops and dies for good.
That's good stuff.
Great.
Esophageal fluids. So essentially also called the esophageal humors, consists of basically a compilation of mucus, food products, hormones, and water. And then there's also the serous fluid, which mostly lies on the lateral side in the visceral peritoneum. But this is going to provide a slick barrier with the parietal peritoneum. And the medial secretion in small amounts is going to lubricate the muscularis externa, which is going to enhance the smooth muscle activity. And then the esophageal fluid pH lies at a value of 7.0, so pretty much neutral, so none of the muscle or any proteins or small amounts of enzymes denature. And then we see that most of these fluids are polar, meaning they have a mix of positive and negative charge, which allows basically charged food particles to flow down the esophagus and eventually get to the stomach. So this is why our esophageal community is so cohesive. We are all polar.
That's right, child. Esophagi hold digestio together.
We should be glad that we all have each other.
Hormones, their structure and function. Hormones in the esophagus, mainly their function is to provide pH homeostasis and allow for smooth muscle contraction. The main esophageal hormones are motilin, and you have another one that also functions within the duodenal wall and pancreas, which is called secretin. Motilin is a hydrophilic peptide hormone, meaning that it's a protein hormone, and it binds to a G protein coupled receptor, which is going to initiate a signal transduction pathway. Essentially keeps getting amplified within the cell, leading to smooth muscle contraction. And then secretin once again, it's going to primarily function within the duodenal wall to neutralize acidic chyme, but it can also function within the esophagus by allowing the pancreas to release bicarbonate ions, which then go into the esophagus to neutralize any possible acidic food, because otherwise the proteins and muscles will denature. Next. And here we see the chemical structure of motilin and secretin. If we look closely, these are all peptide hormones. They all have amino groups here. And we see kind of closely here, these hydroxyl groups are polar. So it allows it to function within the polar environment of the esophageal fluids. And it's when it folds, it's going to have a specific shape that allows it to bind to these GCPRs. And same with secretin. These amino groups, along with being the left end terminal end of the peptide, they're going to essentially bind to hydrogen ions, so it implicitly acts as a base as well.
Oh, it's good to know that I've got hormones that help me know I can keep doing my job. I can keep contracting without worrying that I may denature.
Let's celebrate.
Ooh.
Oh, we got our hormones here tonight. Oh, that is motilin, am I right? Oh, secretin providing the pH job. Hydrophilic peptides are living up to their hormone jobs.
Okay, and so there are three main homeostatic imbalances of the esophagus, and that's the gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD, esophageal motility disorder, and a hiatal hernia.
So gastroesophageal reflux disease. It's characterized by the presence of the hole in the cardioesophageal sphincter, causing this gastric acid juice to come up from the stomach into the esophagus, which shouldn't naturally happen because it's going to denature many proteins. And the presence of this gastric juice may result in ulcers because the wall is not made to have a pH that is below 7, usually. And signs of GERD can be seen with burning chest pain and respiratory problems. Treatments can be weight loss, proton pump inhibitors, and elevating your head when sleeping. These proton pump inhibitors are specifically special because they're going to target ATP synthase within the parietal cells of your stomach. So essentially, you stop having this net flow of protons, out of the cell, and it's also going to target proton pumps on the plasma membrane. But and prevention, try to maintain an element of spirit in your lifestyle. Meditate. Maintain a diet with fruits and vegetables. Keep consistent with aerobic exercise regimen.
Oh no! Acid Man is coming.
I'm coming for you, esophagus!
We must stop him! The acid coming up because my sphincter not cooperating. I feel it burn, 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 burn. And it happens to be coming into my mouth. It's floating around in the esophagus. Stop this right now. It's not a real good time. Stop this right now. Stop this. I've got to stop before this comes to a call. Esophageal motility disorder is another one. It's basically difficulty in swallowing, and spasms are a sign. We have chronic obstructions or reactions, so antihistamines can help sometimes with these allergic reactions. Impaired smooth muscle contractions leads to problems of digesting food, and this can sometimes be the reason for tiredness because of impaired nutrient delivery. Treatments in moderate cases can be relaxation of the lower esophageal sphincter and can help the transfer of food, but in severe cases, surgery may be required due to chronic obstruction. And prevention, you want to avoid these trans fats that can accumulate within your esophagus, and take antihistamines and maintain a healthy electrolyte balance to keep neuromuscular activity healthy. Hiatal hernia, the hiatus, is an opening in the diaphragm. The esophagus normally goes through the hiatus, but with this type of hernia, the stomach is going to bulge, and the esophagus is going to go upward into the chest. To treat this, if the blood supply is constricted, surgery might be necessary to put the stomach and esophagus back into place. And the symptoms of GERD should be treated with this. To prevent this, you want to avoid lying down and wear looser clothing so that way your body cavities aren't as constricted. Thank you, and now for a closing. Hello, muscle, my old friend. I hope I'll see you off again. May my muscularis externa and the left of the mucosa take me to the heaven of food transport. My sphincters within the sound of peristalsis. Father, you've taught me so much. So now we must keep in touch as we matter for generations. Esophageal continuation. When my peritoneum was coated by the greatness of serosa simpatica, touched by the sound of motility.
Thank you.